What's up, guys? Billy here from Dad's Lives Matter. I've done a bunch of these videos, and I haven't really told y'all anything about me. So this is going to be a little bit of my story. Um, so I was born in Myrtle Beach. I was adopted at birth. So 2 days after I was born, I moved up to New Jersey. And coming up, my childhood wasn't the best. I'm not going to dive too far deep into it, but my adoptive mother, I can't speak on the cause to this day. We were oil and water my whole life. Now, there was a lot of physical abuse, emotional abuse. It was a tough childhood for me. Now, I will say that materialistically, things were there for my siblings and for my family and this and that. Um, but in my opinion, none of that means shit. And really, I didn't get to enjoy a lot of those materialistic things. I was always the black sheep and this and that. And I was no angel. I'm not going to sit here and say, I was a childhood victim, right? But at the same time, I never did anything to deserve a lot of what I went through. Starting at 12 years old, I got sent to military school. Sophomore year, I got sent to a reform school. Summer before senior year, I got sent to a wilderness program, one of those troubled teen programs. And then straight from there, I got sent to one of the most abusive troubled teen programs I have ever experienced. I'm surprised they haven't made a documentary about it like they have the other ones. So then after that, as soon as I got home from that, I was 18, I was gone. I moved to California, jumped on a Greyhound at 18 years old with $18 in my pocket and moved out to Cali from Jersey. Crazy stuff. Boom, boom, hustling, drugs, crime, gangs, the whole nine. That was the next, 10 years or so of my life. Well, not 10 years, but so at 22, I got sent to prison for armed robbery, drug distribution, and ended up spending half my 20s behind bars. I got out in 2015, determined to turn my life around. And on a blind date, I met this girl, right? Blind date. It was a double blind date. So it was me, her, my boy, and his wife who decided to get really drunk. Everything was super awkward. I could barely talk to the girl I was supposed to be on the date with. It was a disaster. So I ran up to her at the end and I was like, hey, let me get your number. Let me take you out, just you and me. That was crazy, right? So less than a year later, we're married. We had a 20-month-old son when we met. And so that was my first experience in fatherhood, was stepping in. His dad was still in the picture to a certain extent. He got him every weekend. Um, he was there physically, but yeah, I'm not going to dog him either. He's a good dude, but he's got his own struggles and places he can improve, just like we all do. Um, so had my stepson. Our first anniversary, our first wedding anniversary was the day my daughter was born. And let me tell you, the second that girl came out the womb, there was an undeniable physical change inside me. I've never known a love existed that was that strong. And from that day, that girl has been my baby. That girl is my world. All my kids are my world. Um, so throughout my marriage got pretty brutal. I had my struggles. I had a cancer scare in 2017 that got me on pain pills, and I struggled with that. And then really from 2018 to 2021, when we separated, it was hell. I had never dealt with anxiety attacks in my life. At the time, I had 2 vape shops, 2 smoke shops, and I was launching my line of Delta 8 products. And I was reaching all this success and doing things I never thought I'd ever do here. But then coming home, it was like a battlefield. I never knew what I was coming home to. So it got to a point where the last about year that we had the shops, I would have to pull over 2, 3 times a night driving home because I would get these anxiety attacks that were so powerful. My face would go numb, my arms would go numb. The first time I called an ambulance because I thought I was having a heart attack. Um, and that continued that whole last year of my marriage until we separated. Once we separated, it got even worse. So my son was born. Literally, we weren't planning it. Our marriage was over at this point, and she got pregnant with my son. He was born right around the time we officially separated, or right around the time he was actually born, whatever it was. Um, and I'll tell you what, that first year of separation was miserable. The mistake I made was in our divorce agreement. Regardless of what was going on between us, I really thought when it came to the kids, we would co-parent fine. You know what I mean? We both love our kids tremendously. I did not think our issues would bleed over, because I knew I wouldn't allow them to. Well, I was wrong. So we agreed to, I get them every other weekend. And then every week, Wednesday and Thursday, I get them like 5 to 9, something like that. So that went along for, I don't know, 6 months or whatever. And then out the blue one day, I get a call. Hey, so you're not going to get them during the week anymore. Why? Hey, it just doesn't work for me. Huh? And that's a very small example of what I had to deal with. And when I created this channel, it wasn't to dog my wife, but it was so that I could vent and be real about what was going on, which very easily could come across as dogging my wife. But after I relaunched this and started investing myself in Dad's Lives Matter again, that's not what I want this channel to be about. If you're struggling with a narcissist, or if you're dealing with an abusive spouse, or if you're going through it, by all means, let's talk about it. I have been through it. I am here. But I don't want this channel to be about me sitting up here bitching about my ex because it's so much bigger than that. And so it's been 3 years now, and it's really only been the last 5, 6 months where things have seemed to be pretty cordial, pretty cool. She's been really good. Now, big part of that might be that she recently has a new boyfriend, so her focus isn't as much on me. But my ex is a good person. She's a good woman. She's not perfect. I'm not perfect. Um, but things did get pretty crazy and abusive there for a while. Um, and so this channel is, I want to start doing lives. I want to start being there for men because I really have been through a lot. I've been, most of the things y'all are going to tell me y'all have gone through, I've probably been there, whether it's with a relationship, whether it's with um, some type of jail, crime, struggles in life. I slept on a bench in my younger years. I've been homeless. I went days without eating. I know what it's like to go hungry, but I also have seen extreme successes too. I started my first vape juice company out of my damn kitchen, mixing juice at my kitchen table. And within a couple of years, there was 4 shops total, 2 vape shops, 2 smoke shops, our own e-liquid line. I launched a whole Delta 8 line on my own. I saw all these successes and all these lows to get me where I'm at today, which is still trying to rebuild after my divorce. Things are coming together, but it's not easy. It's been a struggle. And everything I just talked about are things all us men and all us fathers deal with on a daily basis. And we all just need somebody, someplace we can go to just get that shit out, swallowing it, bottling it up, just soldiering through. Yeah, it looked good and it makes you look real resilient and real tough. But at the end of the day, inside it is destroying us. It almost destroyed me. I was a shell of myself for almost 2.5 years after my divorce, just floating through life, not accomplishing anything, just working, coming home, putting my face in front of the TV and trying to forget about the last 24 hours. And that's not what life is about. I want this channel to lift dads up, support dads, and just be an avenue of therapy or help or just support at the end of the day. That was a pretty short version of my story. There's a hell of a lot more. But I wanted y'all to get to know me a little bit. I want to say I love and appreciate all y'all for all the support. I really want to keep this going. I have hundreds of designs for dad merch that I want to get going, but I want to get this channel built up first and gain a real following and a real group of men surrounding the channel and see what we can make it. So working on another dad talk interview that'll be dropping later this week or this weekend. And I hope all y'all men have a great week. Love on them kids and try to hold your head, keep your cool. If you're dealing with a pretty crazy ex, be the bigger man. Feeding into it is only going to put fuel on the fire. The kids are what's important. And we all want our kids to see a father that's loving, understanding, and respects women. So again, I appreciate y'all. Let's have a great week. Men supporting men, dudes supporting dudes. Most importantly, dads supporting dads. Dads lives matter. Appreciate y'all.